Hi, I'm Kate Gifford and this is our June 2020 Myopia Musings. Now the Myopia Musings was something that I've done irregularly in the past, but we're building so much new content on myopiaprofile.com and new resources available for you to translate myopia management into practice that the time has come to do a monthly update to tell you about all of the fantastic stuff that we've built on the website for you to satisfy your nerdy curiosity and to help you manage myopia in clinical practice. We've released 2 Myopia Profile Digests this month, or 2 e-newsletters. The first is on young adult myopia management, and the second is on atropine. When it comes to young adult myopia management, this is a really important area of clinical practice where we don't have a lot of data available on interventions, and we don't have a lot of clear understanding on the natural history of progression. So what we've done is collated a bunch of information into clinical blogs for you, and the key take-home message here is that myopia doesn't necessarily stop progressing at age 15 or 16, as you may believe. In fact, the studies have shown us that only half of myopes will stop progressing by age 15, 16. That means the other half is still progressing. And when it comes to young adult myopes, around 20% of them will progress by at least a diopter in their 20s, in that decade. So we need to think about how to manage them. When we're managing our young adult myopes, we need to think firstly about just knowing that myopia progression is likely to happen, so we need to have those discussions. We need to think about contact lens interventions. Now, contact lenses are a logical choice for this age group because they need myopia correction. If perhaps there were issues with contact lens wear in childhood, they should perhaps be more amenable to it in early adulthood. And while we don't have any good longitudinal data on myopia control results with contact lenses in young adults, there is some early data and some small studies on Orthokeratology's propensity to slow myopia progression in young adults. It's also very important that we consider eye health management and that we educate these young myopes that even if they do proceed to laser surgery, for example, they still have a myopic retina and we still need to monitor their eye health. So on the website, we have a variety of information on young adult myopia management and also a new blog on when to stop myopia control treatments. And these 2 topics fit together because when we're looking at stopping myopia control treatments, we need to think about when and how and also why. Why are you stopping? In this particular blog, we talk about cessation of atropine and suggest a tapering schedule. We also talk about changing from Ortho-K to daily wear contact lenses and multifocals to single vision and how that can influence visual function as well. So there's a variety of useful information there for you, and we've also put together some clinical cases for you on young adult myopia progression and the aspects that we need to consider from the point of view of real cases that we've discussed in the Facebook group. Now, our second Myopia Profile Digest has been on atropine this month. And this was a bumper issue. We all worked very hard on creating a variety of content, and this content was sponsored by Nevercar. And in one of their first educational forays into the space, Nevercar are running some important 0.01% atropine studies where they're looking at a particular type of atropine formulation and by ensuring stability, assessing how well this works over time in a variety of children in 3- and 4-year studies in multiple centers in the US and in Europe as well. Now, with our atropine content, we wanted to go the full comprehensive view of all aspects of management. So we've talked about the science and latest studies on atropine. We've talked about when to use atropine, either as a first-line treatment or as an adjunct. We've also talked about when and how to stop and tapering. We've talked about the complications of atropine compounding. There's been so much that we've learnt about atropine over the past couple of years. If we think back over 10 years, we thought 1% atropine was the hero of them all. And then a few years ago, it was 0.01%. And now we're starting to understand that there is a concentration-dependent response. So we have blogs understanding how those concentrations work differently for efficacy as well as side effects. We've got some interesting complex atropine cases. and we have information about understanding systemic side effects and when we need to be cautious in atropine prescribing and how we can ensure safe prescribing as well. We've got some new clinical cases on atropine, including a child with an allergic reaction, and the question is the reaction to atropine or is the reaction to something else that's in the eye drop? And we also have a really interesting survey we've analysed, a survey that was done in the Facebook group towards the end of 2019 about prescribing habits and how the concentrations we're prescribing for atropine sit against the current scientific research. There's so much new content there for you to get up to level on atropine and to understand where that's going to fit in your armament and where things are going from a clinical perspective as well as a scientific perspective. Now, also on the website, we've reimagined the educational experience this month. So we have a clinical zone where you can follow your nerdy interest in a variety of topics, and we have a scientific zone which is focused on distilling the latest science and just providing those direct links to research. We're always scientifically based. We're always taking that science and translating it into practice. That's more the clinical section, whereas the scientific section is more purely focused on those links out to research. So both can provide levels of interest to you depending on the particular problem you're trying to fix, whether that's understanding the scientific basis in your head or how this actually looks in view of clinical cases or in view of discussions with colleagues. We've also had a host of new things added to the website this month. So we started off right at the end of May with the announcement of our 18 new how-to videos. They're on mykidsvision.org. And there are a bunch of videos where we talk about managing myopia, we talk about applying eye drops, washing hands, visual environment, contact lens care and maintenance for soft and rigid lenses. And these are designed for you to be able to share. You can share them two patients within your practice. You can share them on social media. You can share them and even embed them in your practice website as well. They're all freely available to share. We had 4 more big announcements this month for the website. So we had the how-to videos, first of all. Secondly, we had our new Orthokeratology Fundamentals course launched, which Paul has been working super hard on, and that's had a wonderful response straight off the bat. We also had our new Myopia Management in Practice German course, which was translated entirely by Max Sarakochi, a wonderful volunteer to translate the course, and that was launched this month. We launched the New Look website, and we also have some brand new language translation infographics as well. And this is really important for us to make sure that we're providing accessible education and accessible clinical tools right across the world. And we've had a host of wonderful volunteers again helping us in putting these translations into practice, because they see the value of helping get this message out and helping make this simpler for themselves and also for their colleagues in their particular countries. There's so much more that we're planning, so many more topic intensives that we're going to deliver to you through the Myopia Profile Digest, the newsletters, but there's new stuff going up on the website all the time. So make sure you keep an eye on the clinical cases, keep an eye on the clinical and the science sections of the website. And of course, all of this new stuff's being shared to the Myopia Profile Facebook group. So jump into there to see the latest in blogs, in clinical cases, in research, in industry innovations and discussions. This is obviously on our YouTube channel, and you can see a variety of other videos for viewing on our YouTube channel. It's all just designed to be a wonderful, nerdy smorgasbord to enable you to really understand and engage with this fascinating area of science and clinical practice, and ultimately to translate into best practice management of our pediatric myopes that we see in practice.